Hi, and welcome to another segment of Bringing the Zoo to You. My name is Dr. Jennifer Watts. I'm the Director of Nutrition here at Brookfield Zoo, and today we're here to talk about browse, which is one of my favorite subjects. So browse is the term that we use for fresh leaves from trees or shrubs that we can give our animals. It's actually one of the best things to give our animals because it's closest to the natural forage that they would normally eat in the wild. One of the problems, though, is that we do live in a northern climate, so we can't have browse all year long. When I started here in 2007, the browse program that we had was just limited to the property that we had that we trimmed mostly maple from. And so it was very limited. We could only do it once a week, and it only went to specialized animals like our giraffe, our black rhinos, and our okapi. I had an idea, because we already have a relationship with ComEd through our Holiday Magic, that perhaps when they're trimming trees for the utility protection, that we might be able to use some of those tree trimmings. So we approached ComEd and asked them if they would want to participate in this program. We gave them very strict protocols for what kind of trees they could trim. And a lot of people were concerned about the potential of pesticides. So we asked them to trim from areas that had the lowest risk of having pesticides, usually in transmission corridors or on rural areas and things like that. But as the veterinary team and I discussed, the volume of browse that they would eat compared to the amount of food that they get normally, as in hay and pellets, was very small in terms of volume. In addition, so that reduced the risk. In addition, if they did consume any pesticides, they have a liver that is meant to detoxify any kind of foreign objects or toxic objects, so hopefully that would would help. And I can say that in the 10 years that we've been doing this program with ComEd, we have not had a single issue. So we believe that this is the best that we can do for our animals. So what happens is during the spring and summer, usually starting about mid-May, we get a giant truck full of tree trimmings twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays. We have a volunteer staff of all of our keepers that will help to distribute the browse. And that's what is really interesting, and it's great because all of the keepers understand how important this is for our animals. So even our 7 Seas keepers who don't get any benefit from having the browse will come and help distribute it out to the animals. So usually before the zoo opens, we distribute the browse all around to the zoo. The animal care specialist will then put it in their habitats for them to get as soon as they are let out on exhibit. It has been a great success because browse is, as I said, one of the most natural items that we can give to our animals. So it helps them in terms of giving them some natural fiber, some fresh fiber. So that helps their gastrointestinal tract. It's good for their teeth because they chew on the branches and they masticate all of those good branches and trees. And then finally, it's actually good for their behavior because they're able to then do their natural behaviors of ripping tree leaves off of the tree branches. Now, as I stated before, we do live in a northern climate, so 6 months out of the year we do not have browse. For some of our animals, we have to purchase browse for them to be able to get the fiber and the behavior that they need, the health of their GI tract. So that can actually get to be really expensive. But on the other hand, ComEd actually continues to bring us leafless browse, which you just saw the giraffes eating. And so the giraffes specifically get this leafless browse. And the really cool thing is, as you can see, Pataka here is ripping the bark off. So he's using his teeth, using his lips and his tongue to get the bark off, and they'll strip the bark off of all of the branches that we give them. So again, this is actually really good for them. It's nice for them to eat the bark, and it's good for their behavior. The other protocol that we put into place was trying to figure out how we can, Arnita's getting a little fresh here, was to try to figure out how we can maintain some of the browse that we get during the summer and keep it for the winter months, because we get a lot of browse and it's hard to want to see that go to waste. So we came up with the idea of vacuum sealing the browse. So when we started the pilot program, I actually did go to Bed Bath & Beyond and buy the vacuum sealing bags, the space bags, and we tried to put some browse in there and see what temperature it worked best at and for how long it would stay green. Now in the past, we used to use garbage bags and put them in the freezer. Now that was not airtight, and we were only limited to use willow because willow has a thicker cuticle on the leaf and the leaves did not wilt. Because if you think about it, if you thaw frozen spinach, it turns into a wilty mess, and that's what would happen with maple and mulberry and other trees. It would turn into a wilty mess that the animals would not like to eat. So we looked at doing the vacuum sealing, and we found that vacuum sealing it and freezing it actually kept it through the winter months. So I have an example here. This is some mulberry that was packed in July, and as you can see, it's actually still pretty green. And
here they all come.
Here they all come, ready to get some. So we'll take some of this out and see how much they want to. Here comes Arnita again. So as you can see, even though it's been sitting in storage for almost 8 months, it's still very palatable to them, and they really like it. So this has really helped us in order to be able to provide some fresh browse, even though it's frozen, but some nice fresh leaves for them to be able to consume in the winter time.
And they seem to really love it.
They do, especially mulberry. Mulberry is one of their favorite browse. In the beginning, we started off with lots of different options. We tried alder and elder and silver maple and all sorts of stuff, but they've really kind of limited it down to about 4 species. The most favorite for all the animals is mulberry, and it's especially true right in the beginning when the berries are still on the branches. The primates love that. And then followed by sugar maple, honey locust, and willow. Willow also is another favorite of most animals. And it's kind of interesting when you see the primates, when they get these kinds of browse, they will also use, kind of like how Arnita is here stripping the leaves off, the primates will use their hands and strip all the leaves off in one go and then just eat the leaves. And they will also strip the bark off, the primates will. You want any, Jasiri?
She's just checking it out.
Yeah.
So why is it called browse?
That's just the term that we came up with because I think partially because animals like browsers, which giraffe are because they only take the leaves off the branches. So that's why we call it browse. Unlike an animal that's a grazer that eats grasses, these animals just take the leaves off of the branches.
Mm-hmm. How often do all the different animals get the browse? I know you said that we get, what, twice weekly?
Twice a week. So during the summer months, we get it twice a week. And what we try to do, and the reason why we did it twice a week was that so we could probably give browse almost every day. Okay. And the nice thing about the amount of browse that we get now is all sorts of animals get it. Where, like I said in the past, where only like giraffe and okapi and black rhinos got the browse. Now reindeer get browse. Our hyrax used to get browse. The camels, you want some more? Yes. More yummy stuff.
She keeps buzzing the camera here.
Yeah. There you go.
What's the most unlikely animal that gets browse?
Probably the bears. A lot of people don't think about the bears getting browse, but they'll actually enjoy it and they'll pull the leaves off, especially when they're in their early stages of coming out of their torpor. They will. They like to eat grass and green things, so we'll give them browse during that time and they'll actually take to it.
And can you remind us?
Yeah, I got stuck.
Well, that we're stuck. Okay, now I forgot what I was going to ask. Can you remind us the benefits of browse?
Yes, it's really good for their dental health, especially our black rhinos, because black rhinos actually do not just browse the leaves, they'll actually cut the branch at a certain point, a certain thickness, and they'll actually chew the sticks as well. So we actually, with one of our rhinos, we had some experience with how his teeth were before we started with the browse. And when the rhino dentist came to inspect his teeth after we had had the browse program for a few years, he commented at how well his teeth were as compared to prior to the browse, because it helps to clean the tartar off their teeth. So there's the dental health, there's the gastrointestinal health by keeping that fresh fiber and moving through their GI tract, and then the behavioral health. It helps them use those natural behaviors that they would normally use in the wild that they don't always get to use as much when they're eating hay or pellets or things like that.
Are these leaves edible for people?
You know, I'm not positive, because I mean, you can eat the mulberries from a mulberry tree, so I would think that the leaves could be edible, but
I mean, they probably
I don't know if they
wouldn't
taste really
very
good. Yeah.
Let's see, do you have to hold the browse every time for them to eat?
No. Normally the animal care specialist will put it in browse holders, which we have usually outside, and you'll see them if you come to visit, you'll see them in the giraffe habitat in fake stumps. We usually have like a PVC pipe in there that we'll put the browse in, so then they can pull it out as they come and eat it.
She's gonna smack me in the head with that.
Yeah.
They like to drop willow branches on me. Get out of here.
Yeah.
How many giraffes are here at Brookfield Zoo?
We have 4 giraffes. So we have Arnita here, who's hogging all the camera time. Over here we have Pataka. And then behind Arnita here eating some hay is Jasiri. And then back in the back is Atto.
Have the giraffes been outside yet?
Nope, not yet. We have a specific temperature gradient for them because giraffe cannot thermoregulate like a lot of other animals can, so they're very sensitive to temperature. So we have to wait until it's about steady 55 to 60 degrees before they're allowed outside.
How did you determine which trees to trim from?
That's based off of a lot of information in terms of what trees are toxic. We have a very extensive list on what trees are acceptable and what trees are not, and we gave that list to ComEd for them to be able to decide. ComEd has an official arborist on staff, so they are able to accurately identify the trees along with our certified arborist, who can then confirm if we have the correct species. And the animal care specialists are very, very sharp, that they know if they see something that could potentially be toxic, that might be a vine that kind of wrapped itself in a tree. And so they'll always double check before feeding anything out that looks suspicious.
Mm-hmm. Do any of these leaves, like especially the mulberry, since it's everybody's favorite, do they taste sweet, do you think?
I think so. I think that's also why most of the animals do not like silver maple, because we think that's has more tannins in it, which makes it a little bit more tart, and so they like sugar maple as the most. And so that's kind of tells me between honey locust and the maple and the mulberry that it has a sweeter taste, and so that's why they like it.
Why is Atto separated from the other giraffes?
Right now it's because he is our breeding male, so we're keeping him separate for right now, because he can sometimes cause a little bit of a problem because he's a little hot-headed sometimes.
And do you know when the giraffe feeding is going to reopen?
It's going to start Memorial Day weekend. So we will be doing it daily Memorial Day weekend, and then we do weekends only in October. All right, well, I hope you've enjoyed the Arnita show here in our Bringing the Zoo to You, and have learned something new about the browse program that we have here at Brookfield Zoo.